Now the Tao is a rod, I told you before. Now, it used to be ever bending and never bent, like a light bender or an air bender. The children would understand that one. You know, one is one air, H-E-I-R. One air, one breath, one spirit, one able. Always bending and never bent. Now that's eternal. And then as we move farther west, the word Tao became D-O-W. And now we're going to buy a dowsing rod. We're going to douse, I don't know how they do this, douse for water. It's a stiff stick. It's a standard by which we measure things. Now we can take that stick and mark degrees, but it needs to have 2 poles. And we call it a stick. And that's fine. You may stick to it. Nevertheless, it is stiff-necked at times and doesn't want to bend because it seeks to exalt itself through its stick. And Mormons know about the word stick, either of Judah or Joseph. I do not mock them at all. But nevertheless, it is interesting how now the bendable law that is ever bending and never bent can suddenly be broken with the Tao. A stick? You are going to beat God with a stick? Wow. And then we come to the funny part. Watch how all is language. All is language. If you want to talk about a program or a triune truth, a trinity, let's just use an example. The programmer is programmed. All is language, and it is programming. The one who sacrifices, the altar that changes, the sacrifice, all is one. That is why God sacrificed his son, you said. But the Tao in the West took on a different meaning. Now we went from the stick to, I like to joke as, instead of the Tao Te Ching, we have the Dow Day Jones Industrial Average. And slowly it's becoming more capital. You know, the lion is a symbol of Judah. Judah's the lion. And we love the Lion King. But it is nice to know that if all is lowercase instead of that L, we just have all lowercase, then who's sitting in the uppermost seats now? Nobody is being a better. God says, there is no better than I, for there is no one beside me. I am all that is, and that is you too, even though there is one. So, the lion, a line, an L that is a line that means one as well, which is not an accident. And all is lowercase, and no one seeking to exalt themselves above another L, E-L, God. Not even the king sought to exalt himself above the Lion of Judah. That is something humorous. I wanted to also mention something else before I forget it. Fair.org, I love you. Do not be angry. I would like us to do this because I am not going to argue at all. I understand you. I, believe it or not, was once a Mormon apologetic, looking up Hugh Nibley, trying to figure out the book of the breathings, which is the breath, and trying to figure out the book of Abraham, this and that. I want to lay all these little petty things aside. Let us look at the doctrine. I don't care now if there were horses in America or where Genghis Khan's horses are or the mitochondrial DNA that of the Lamanites or the witch. Let's lay down the truth. What you are really after is the plan of salvation. And that is the most important tenet of your church. And that's what I want to focus on. Exaltation. Have you ever looked at the word exalt? It has X. EX. It means it used to be, but now it's not. Alta. Alta vista. A mountain that's high. I want to exalt myself. Exaltation. Have you heard what the word really says? Listen to the syllables and the sounds of the words, for the one language is in all languages. Exaltation. Sion. T-I-O-N is like S-I-O-N. Shon. Sion is another word for Zion. Ex, not alta, high Zion. Are you seeking to be exalted over Zion? Surely that is not the united order. Zion is not looking for a king instead, although they want one. That is only so they can have a reason to later rule over others and be lords. But the only Lord is the one God, and that is the only word, and all L's that are words know that. So, another version of exaltation is ex not alta, like alternate. Not alternate? Tell me about alternate. In the tree of life, Kabbalists would understand this. In the Kabbalah, and they have a symbol of the tree of life, and they have the pillar of mercy and justice along the middle path. Well, Mormons understand that because they say mercy and justice. They say the same thing about the tree of life. And the Kabbalists have a different way of saying it. But let me tell you, the tree of life is not weak. God did not make the earth in your scriptures or in any symbol of the archetype of the word in a moment of weakness. You said 7 days are weak. 7 days are not weak. And I don't think we need to prop that tree up with 2 pillars, because I feel like Samson in irons, and I just want to break them. Tell me about alt, the male and female of those pillars that go across the middle. Sometimes I look at that tree of life, and I want to go like this with it. I want to take 3 of those glyphs. There are 3 on each side. I have a feeling those are the same ones. And the fence down the middle is the rod, which Mormons call the Word of God. That is the tree of life. Because the Word is Christ, and the life is the tree, the Trinity, and that is of the life. And He is the life and light of all men. And I feel like just going, let's male and female for a while. Stick those 3 together. They are one. Now count them. And I'm not talking about death right now, for that is knowledge. And that is of the serpent, Sirius. We're not talking about that right now. That is what you call in the Kabbalah, the 8, the 8th. We are going to do the 7. We are going to put those 3 together. Now, you have 10 glyphs. I remember reading in the book of Revelations about, was it a 10-headed beast? A 7-headed beast with 10 horns? 3 of these do not have a head. I think you're making something up. If you put them together, we have Kether all the way down to the kingdom. Now the kingdom in your Kabbalah is represented with 10, 1, 0. But in Kabbalah, that means 1 is the value. In the valley of the value where the shepherd is. And Kether is 1. They both have the same value. But yet when you put them together, there are 7. Take the S off of that 7th. For it is even. And the 7th day is holy, to remind all that they are holy. The same whole. Not just the whole without a W. That is why God pronounced the 7th day holy. He did not make the earth out of a weakness, out of an overflowing fullness of joy. And I will tell you something that you will not like to hear. But the foundation, I know. Just listen anyway. The foundation is full. And the house is strong on it because it is also made of the foundation as well. They are not separate. The meek shall inherit the earth. But I tell you, the weak is strong. It does not need an 8th. The 8th is there, fine. We do not worship knowledge over the truth. The Latter-day Saints know that this is true as well, because as soon as we reach 8 years old, I remember as a boy, the first Saturday after I had turned 8, we need to be baptized and be born again. 7 is enough. In that is where innocence is. Thou shalt not commit adultery, you adults. nor shall we adulterize the truth.